also. Beautiful. So sorry, everyone. I'm trying to share my screen and my screen is not cooperating. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Can you guys see the presentation? Yes, beautiful. All right, good. It's official. We are on the way. Welcome. All right. So sorry about that. Sorry about that. I was having a little bit of technical difficulties this morning. Was kind of busy. Had some meetings this morning. So welcome to our Ready to Launch Challenge. Hopefully, let's do a little bit some administrative things. Everybody should have received a workbook via email. I'm going to post the link to the workbook. Let me see if I can navigate to said workbook. Let me get the workbook open. I thought I had it open, but does not look like I do. Here it is. All right. So if you have the workbook, all you need to do is, so every day you guys are going to get a workbook. And all you need to do is, if you want to use that workbook, you're just going to make a copy of it, and then you can save it to your drive and do that. So let me make a copy and drop it here. So day one workbook is located here. We will be referring to this throughout today's session. And so for those of you who are new to me, my name is Sunday Gardner, and I am super excited to be hosting you all this week inside of this challenge. And so here's my promise to you guys. If you want to, can't hear, it's going back out. Everybody else cannot hear me? Anyone else can? Can everyone hear me okay? Here, it's going back out. Yes, you can. You can hear. All right, perfect. So maybe it's just be that one person. All right, so this week is all about you all who may be wanting to transition from your host agency. Maybe you've been thinking about it and you really don't understand how to do that, or maybe you're a little afraid to make that leap. And what this week is all about is to let you know and to give you the confidence that you can independently own and operate your own travel business and be profitable doing that and take control of your business with more profit and more freedom. And so we're going to focus on that today. So let's get started. Before we do, let's jump in. I do love to have these sessions be interactive instead of me just, going one way and nobody communicating. So it's really important that the chat is on and that you guys are talking and letting me know. So in the chat, or if you feel comfortable, you can come off mute, because I am that person who is okay with that. Is let me know where you are watching from, where you're going to be participating from this week. How many years in the industry are you in, and are you currently hosted or are you already independent? Let me know in comments those three things. Where are you from? How many years, and are you hosted or independent? And feel free to come off mute if you'd like to do that. And I think I may have not posted the link to the workbook to everybody. Did everybody get the workbook, or only some people did? Yeah, I did post it to everyone. All right, so we got some people from New York just starting out. Welcome Chicago, 1 month. You're just brand new, 2 years in and hosted, and you are from Pennsylvania, but it's lovely Alaquippa. Is that how you pronounce it? I've never heard of that. But I'm not from the East Coast. I mean, I am, but I'm not really. So welcome, Washington, D.C., hosted, brand spanking new. Minneapolis, Hey, Katisha, 5 years in hybrid right now. Super excited. All right, so we got a lot of people from the East Coast on, and I think somebody said that they're from California. I am in Georgia, central Georgia, south central Georgia, a little bit south of Atlanta area. And I've been in the business since 2016, and I am fully independent and also a coach. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. So welcome to the industry for you brand spanking new people and those people who've been in the industry for a little bit and you're thinking about becoming fully independent. You know, this week is all about what that path looks like and how we either together can do it, or at least you have all the information necessary to make the decision if it's for you. All right, so let's jump in. So here's the thing. I don't know if you guys know this, but I remember when I was preparing for this challenge a couple of months ago, and I guess I should know, but I've never been to Austria, that there is a counter in Vienna dedicated exclusively for travelers who booked a flight incorrectly. And they meant, you know, in Austria, and they meant to go to Australia. You know, the difference that an L makes in a conversation. And can you imagine how those advisors must have felt? Not advisors, but the people who they come off the plane and they're super excited and they're like, yes, I am ready to go to Australia. And they realize they're in the wrong place. And what I loved about this picture and this thought when I saw it is that it was just a really good reminder to me that the details matter. So it doesn't matter if you're booking a flight or setting up your travel business, the details matter, because of the difference of what you know versus what you know could be catastrophic to your business, both financially and also making the difference between if you're going to stay in business or if you're not, based on the mistakes that you made because you didn't know. So what we want to do is make sure that you have all the letters that you need to run a successful and profitable business. And so we're going to start with that today. So the first thing that I want to do is many of your names are new to me. I've not seen all of you. So I just want to start with letting you know sort of a disclaimer, because I'm going to be talking about a lot of great things this week, but unfortunately, many of you will not be profitable. But I want to just kind of set the stage as to what that means. You may be like, what do you mean? Like you have me here Sunday, and I thought that is because we all want to be profitable. But here's the deal. I started in this business in 2016, and I wanted free travel. And for those that are brand spanking new and haven't been in the business for a while, or you don't know anything about what it means, I was recruited into the business by a host agency who primarily recruits people who are interested in travel and tells them that, you know, they can do this thing and you'll get free travel. And at that time, there was 5 of us. There was my husband and our 3 children, and I wanted to travel for free. And I believed what I was told, that if I signed up, I would be able to travel for free and get my family of 5 out of town. And you know, what also was told to me is that I would get paid to do what I love, which is I wasn't doing as much travel as I wanted to, but I would get paid to do that. And I was like, yep, sign me up. I'm in there like swimwear. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. And that was in 2016. And the kids were younger, obviously, you know, that was almost 10 years ago. And the kids were younger. And we hadn't gone on, I was busy like starting businesses, having babies, and we had not really gone on any trips. And I just wanted to like go on a cruise. I could not make that cruise happen to save my life because I couldn't figure out how to book it. I didn't know how to get the free cruise or reduced cruise. And I was frustrated. So, you know, I fast forward 2 years, and what I realized is that there were a lot of travel advisors who were frustrated, couldn't figure out how to just do basic booking. I was not interested in recruiting. I just wanted to travel, and I wanted to travel on the cheap, and I wanted to be I wanted to be in the know. How many of you guys are out there sort of joined the same way and wanted to do the same things? Let me know in comments. And, you know, 2 years, I stayed with my host agency for 2 years, paid my $40 a month. And I was like, I'm going to figure it out. I don't have the time now. I'm going to figure it out. And I ultimately didn't figure it out, not by 2018. And I was like, I was just about to cancel this membership because I was paying $40 a month for it. And I was about to cancel, and I was like, this is BS. I had talked to my upline, and I was already coaching at the time. I was coaching general, and I fast forward. She was like, I was like, I love teaching. And she was like, well, why don't you just recruit other people into the travel business and teach them, and you teach your whole people. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. But by 2018, once I dug in, I realized that there was still no free travel, and there was still no even large discounts for us travel advisors. So I felt a little bit duped. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to dive in. And that's what I did in 2018, dove in, learned all that I could learn about the industry, and married what I know about marketing and running businesses together. And then I said, I'm going to keep going. Like, I'm going to keep doing this, and we're going to be profitable. And it did take some time for me to marry and understand the industry. But what I will tell you is that there is no easy path to getting that knowledge and applying that knowledge. And many of you won't do it. You'll be on this, and I'm not trying to predict doom, but that's what I know about people, and my experience is you'll sit and people will listen and they'll consume and they won't act. If that's you, you're going to get a lot of great information this week about what it takes to be profitable and to launch a business that's going to be successful. But those that do not take action, you won't get the results of what action does for you. So that's my disclaimer to you is that I'm going to fill your notebook full of information, but what I am going to ask you is take action. I'm going to give you the places where you should take action. This is the opportunity for you to ask questions, get feedback. There's also an after sort of session that if you'd like to register for our VIP, you can work with me directly. I'm making myself available for an hour after this session for those that upgrade to VIP, so that you can ask specific questions and get my eyes on your business. But what I know after all of that in 2020, by the time we gathered the information, I started working with advisors to train, our profitability, we're seeing that consistently with multiple streams of income in our travel business. Now, I am also a coach. We also do travel. We exclusively handle travel for advisors because we are focused 100% on coaching now, but we've got that recipe. And so we're going to talk about that today. What I can also tell you is that I'm not one of those kind of challenges where it's just going to be a bunch of fluffy stuff that you're not going to be able to take action on. So every day I'm going to give you an action step or steps to take via the workbook. I'm going to send you an email like I did today, and I'm going to ask you to take action so you can see the impact. So it's going to be practical examples of what you need to do in your business so that you can get real results in your business. So after this week, you're going to have the blueprint. I'm not even going to lie to you. You're going to have the blueprint. You're going to have what you need. I will extend you an offer to help you implement that blueprint at the end of the week. However, you're going to have all of the information that you need, and you'll have the ability to ask questions so that you can get it. What I'm going to ask you this week to do is commit to your success. What I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up today. I'm going to show up every day at this time, work with you for about 90 minutes. And if you upgrade, I'll work with you another hour to actually get my eyes and help give you the tools that you need to be successful. But you have got to stay engaged in order to reap the rewards. If you are driving and you're trying to, absorb this, it's not going to work, right? If you are distracted by a bunch of different things, it's just not going to work. So what I will tell you again is if you would like to upgrade to our VIP, it's $97 to upgrade, but it is a smaller live session, open questions. I expect that the people who are in VIP are off of mute because I'm going to be asking you questions and giving you some very pointed scenarios on or direction on your particular scenarios. I'm going to drop the link for you guys if you're interested in upgrading that. Let me do that right now. so that you can get access into that VIP session. And that is going to be held on a separate Zoom. Okay, so now it's my hope that you guys are committed. Like, let me know in comments. Are you guys committed to this week and actually making this happen so that you can see what you need to do to become independent? Now, let me tell you this. There are a few of you who are brand spanking new. You guys just let me know that you're brand spanking new to the industry and you're like, well, maybe I'm not ready to actually jump into independence. And let's talk about what that looks like. So what I've done over the course of the many years that I've been working with you advisors is sort of created a path for you all to be thinking about your travel business as an entirety. So the first step is if you are brand spanking new to this business, you've been in the business for 2 weeks, you were just recruited and you saw my ad and you decided to join this challenge. What I will say is, and particularly if you've never run a business, you need some sort of business foundations. And this is not generic business foundations. This is really travel business foundations, not only relative to the industry proper, but really the things that you need to do to protect your business. So that's going to be first step. Number two is once you understand, and I'm talking about like the basic stuff, like, did you like set up the business? Many of you, when you get recruited into the business, you're like, I don't need to set up the business. I just need to just start taking supplier training. And then I just need to start giving out quotes. And that's really out of order. Business foundations is really around making sure that you've got the sequence of activities to get your business legitimized, not only with your host agency, but also with the city, state that you live in, because there's some people who are in Florida and there's some people who are in California. There's certain states in the United States that you have to do some extra steps. We want to make sure you're covered. We want to make sure your risk is covered, all of that above. Once you've got the business started, you've got it established legally, not only with your host, but also with your state, and you've got the foundation step, then you can go into stabilizing your operations. So that's really making sure that your business processes are on point. So when somebody asks for a quote, you know what to do and you're not fumbling around. And you're not tripping over yourself, or you're not sweating under the armpits like I was when I first started. I remember my husband when I started in the business, and he immediately we had a barbershop. He told his friends that I was booking travel, and like people would come and ask me like I need to go somewhere, and I would like put them off because I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know how to like fulfill their requirements. I didn't have a process to accept their requests. It was a hot mess. I was like, I was hiding from quote requests because I didn't know what to do. And so we want to make sure that you've stabilized not only your request process, but actually all the major processes in your business, because frankly, we're different. And I don't mean that just to say it, but our business is different. We're not just selling t-shirts and we do a transaction and that's it. People entrust us with getting their most precious things in and out of town, and that requires a lot of organizations, a lot of I's crossed, and a lot of I's dotted, and a lot of T's crossed. And you want to make sure that you're doing the right sequence of activities that also get your people out of town, but also protect you as the advisor and consultant for those people. So once you get out of stabilizing your operations, then your focus really ought to be on profitability, right? Making the most amount of money in your business, reducing your expenses, increasing your margins, and all of the above. And then, once you go from there, then you want to go into maybe recruiting people to work inside of your business, right? Maybe you do want to have some sub agents. Maybe you want to get employees, and then ultimately building a legacy. We're really going to be focusing on 1 and 2 this week, and some of 3 in terms of really the considerations of what profitability means for your agency as you start to grow it. But really, we're focused on 1, 2, and 3 this week. Let me know again in comments if you have any comments. I'm really just focused on the Zoom comments this week. So if you have any comments, just do not hesitate to drop them in. But here's the opportunity that you have with me this week is that time is, most people, when they start a business, they think I'm going to be able to be in control of my money, and they completely lose the fact that they lose control of their time because all they're doing is working in their business. How many of you guys out there are working a full-time job as you start to build this business? Because many of the people that I work with are in that boat. They're not just doing, they haven't just jumped. They're balancing family, they're balancing a full-time job, and they're doing this on the side. And you're trying to make it all work together, and so you have very little freedom, or very little control of your time, very little control of freedom. Money is not coming in. You don't have an open checkbook to do all the things that you would love. Your relationships are not, you don't get to really focus on building meaningful relationship, and your purpose, you're probably trying to struggle and balance all of that. And what I can tell you is that when you go fully independent, you really get the opportunity to control all four of these things in your business. You get to control your time, your money, your relationships, and your purpose. Do not get me wrong. Throughout any part of this week, you're going to hear me tell you that partnering with the host agency is the worst thing that you've ever done. If you are brand spanking new into the business, partnering with the host agency is a smart decision 99% of the time, as long as you're able to control some other aspects of your business. So one of the people on the challenge today said that they're a hybrid. We're going to be talking a little bit about all of that. So one of the biggest books or best books that I read at the end of last year is a book by the name of 10X is Easier Than 2X. I encourage all of you all, as you start your businesses, continue in your business, is to get that book, because it really does talk about these four principles about how we really, as business owners, really want to be able to take control of our time, our money, our relationships, and purpose. And we're always in balance of those things. And so what I want to do is I want to give you that as a book. I'm probably going to give you several book recommendations throughout this week. This is the first one. Really changed my mind in terms of letting go of those things that have gotten me to where I am today, to go after my next level. And that's maybe where you are. Maybe it's time for you to let go of where you are so that you can get to that next level, so that you can truly start to get freedom of time, money, relationship, and purpose. But we don't all start there. And what I will say is, let's start somewhere. So today, what we're going to be talking about is the shift to your CEO mindset. If you are starting a business, it doesn't matter if you're with a host agency or if you're independent. All host agencies assume that you have a business and that you are an independent contractor of them, unless of course you are working directly for an agency. So in that case, they all assume that you're a CEO. Now, you may or may not be operating as a CEO, but that's what they assume. They assume that you have a legal business, that you are doing business. It could be a sole proprietorship. It could be LLC. It doesn't matter. The assumption is that you have your own business. And yes, that's the name of the book. It's 10X is easier than 2X, actually. Let me get the name of it. I should, in my notes, I'll update this, the name of the author. It's by Dan Sullivan. And so the name of the book again is 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan. I should include a link with an affiliate and all that. And so next time around, I'll do that. But it's really a really good read. So today we're going to talk about the shift that you need to make in your business, because you are the CEO, even if you don't think you are. So let's talk about that. First thing is that when you start a business, how many of you guys, you joined this session today because you're like, you know what, I'm going to be able to control my money. Like, I'm going to be able to now control my money. I won't have to split commissions. I won't have to worry about monthly agency fees. I'll have control of the quan. Like, how many of you guys were like, yep, I'm in. I want to know. I want to understand how I can start to control the splits, right? And when I first went independent, that's what I wanted. I was like, you know what, and so if you're with the host agency, maybe you are doing a 70-30 split. Maybe it's an 80-20. Maybe you're with the host agency, it's giving you 90-10 off the thing. You're like, bunk all that. I got to get my own clients. I got to get my own leads. I don't even want to split anything with that, right? I want to show me the money and cut out the agency middleman, right? I don't want to pay their monthly fees or sign-up fees, blah, blah, blah. I want to be in control of the money. And so many people think that I own my own business. I'm going to cut my host agency off and I'm going to get more money, right? And many of you guys are saying, yep, that's me. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about, here's the problem though, is when you are chasing the money, and there's some trade-offs that you have to do, is you have less time because you're focused on the money and maybe not so much on the other things. You're prioritizing revenue above all else, which also leads to overwork and neglecting your personal well-being. This intense focus on the money is a recipe for disaster. Take it from somebody who knows, right? The other thing is that when you're focused just on the money, you sometimes compromise quality and service. You are focused on how much revenue I'm making, and you maybe not focused on profitability. You're focused on what's coming in, not what's going out. And you may compromise quality of service because you're focused on trying to get as many sales, but you don't have a process that is burning through clients, burning through leads. Maybe you're also neglecting customer relationships. Building strong relationships in this business is what is going to set you apart, not only with your clients, but also with your suppliers. So having a singular focus on money is really making you neglect leads, and leads to neglecting relationships. So we don't want that just to be the focus. And money focus is also short term. Money is replaceable. I know when money is tight, it's hard to think of it that way. But the reality is that if you are focused just on that, you lose maybe your purpose too. Like, why did you come into business? Why are you doing this business? And so that's what we want to make sure. So today, and really this week, what I want you to really focus on is like, and I've done this, and I actually like have this pause because, I was so focused on like starting my own business that I really didn't think about where I needed to be in the business. So I was, and I remember when I first heard this coin is that, sometimes when you start your own business, what it really does is it enables you to just own your own job. So you trade in a good paying job, right? Working for somebody else whose check is guaranteed, to working for yourself where your check is not guaranteed. And it forces you to make reactive decisions. So you are focused on immediate income because cash is so strained. You accept any type of client and you're focused on just trying to make that sale instead of really selecting your clients so that you can really provide the value and aligning your vision to the type of clients that you want. You're in your comfort zone. When I owned, when I just traded off my job, my 9-to-5 job for a business, and I'm just trying to make ends meet, I made some horrible decisions along the way. I was burnt out. I was overworked. And what we want to do is really get you not in the space of reaction, but proactively creating a business that you are going to love and your clients are going to love working with you. And so it's really going to require you to make a shift. If you want to make money and your focus is money, starting a business is not the answer. It's just not the answer. Like, not long term. Ultimately long term it is, but certainly not short term. If you are strapped for cash and you think starting your business is going to be that, legitimately starting a business and getting it profitable is not a short-term fix. I say go work for somebody else, go get a guaranteed paycheck and and make that do what it do until that cash flow situation goes away, and then work on your business on the side, because it's not an answer to a cash flow situation. Hopefully that, like, and if that hurts, I'm sorry, but that's the reality. This, and particularly the travel business, is not a quick cash type of business. So if you're here because you're like, somebody told me that, starting a business, I can make oodles of money. You can make oodles of money, but it does require a setup. It requires some systematizing what you do. And so today and this week is all about that. So let's talk about what kind of business you guys want. What I want you guys to do right now is kind of think about what do you want? What is the vision for this business that you've set up, that you've been in for a while, or that when you decided to make the shift, what do you want? Like, what did you decide to be? What's the vision? Like, what is that vision? Type in the comments and let me know kind of, what do you guys decide the vision for your business? What's the dream? Like, why you? Why should somebody pick you? What's the purpose of your travel business? What kind of experience do you want to create for your travelers that work with you? How do you want your family to benefit from said business? Because that why is the reason you should be doing this. And if money is the only thing that you write down in your workbook or on your paper, then you're going to have a hard road. So let me know in comments, like, what are some of the reasons why you guys started your travel business? Like, why did you start? What made you to decide that this was it? Like, I'm in there and everything that is travel is what I want to do. No comments? Come on, because you guys know I'm not going to let you go until you say something. Luxury travel experience. Okay, I like that. All right. So what does that mean to you? Like, what does that mean? Like, specifically when you say I want to create a travel experience. So what I will tell you is, as you guys start to craft this dream business of you, and want others to see the world as well. I love travel, always have, and want to make customers' dream come true. Okay, these are all good explanations as to what you are thinking. But starting a business, again, I'm gonna say this: starting a business is not it's not an easy thing to just start a business. So what do you want out of the business? So this is, part of that question really is about, like, what kind of customer experience, client experience you want to create, but why do you want to, give up the extra hours in your day if you're working full time? Put some of your commitments on hold. What are the things that are driving you to want to have a business that is going to require some additional effort on your part, additional money on your part, additional focus and commitment on your part? Like, what's the driver for you on that? All right. So that's going to be the powerful thing. And you guys don't necessarily have to go into detail with me, but you absolutely need to have your why, because things are going to get hard sometimes. Things are not always easy. It's not always fun, right? Let's, like, if you were in 2020 and you had a business, you had a travel business in 2020, and you're in the business during COVID, and you're like, I don't know why the heck I did this. Like, I have no idea why I did this, right? That why had to be stronger than you. Does that make sense? Because nobody could have predicted COVID. Nobody could have predicted what it would do to the industry. But as such, as it did what it did to the industry, those people stuck in. Like, they stuck in. So that why is going to be super important. So that's one of the things that I really want you to think about this week, is what your why is and why do you want to do this business. And it's got to be stronger than money. And it's also got to be stronger than just because I love to travel, because you know, what is that? What's love got to do with it, right? Because again, you're gonna have to, that love is gonna have to be strong to get you through those times when things are not that great, you know, because you don't want to divorce your business, if that makes any sense. So I love somebody's comment, and they said that travel has been a healing thing for me, as I want others to see the world and all it has to offer. The life has so much more than what we see every day. That's a really powerful why. It's a very powerful vision statement, and it's connective, right? Like, because travel, I truly believe, like every single time I leave the country and I'm out of town, I realize how small I am, and so that when I say I focus on travel advisors, my goal is to get advisors who want to sell other parts of the world, and they've never been, is to get them out of that comfort zone, right? And just to do that. So having a powerful why that gives you goosebumps and makes you, brings you, like, don't get me wrong, because I am a crier. It shouldn't make you want to cry, but it should damn near make you want to cry. So it's got to be more important than just the money, right? So it's got to be more than the money. It's got to be really about creating those memorable journeys and experiences, right? The fresh and bold ideas, not only for your clients, but also for yourself. This is just an example of some things that are driving people this year, particularly as we start the new year. You know, our ecological impact on the world. So there are some advisors who feel very strongly about working with suppliers who are eco-friendly, creating eco-friendly trips and that kind of stuff. So if that's something that's important, so that's what I'm saying. I want you to dig deep in terms of what is the reason why. Like, are you interested in building a community of like-minded people that you guys connect through travel with? You know, many of my clients who they create these communities where the bond is a issue. Like, I have a client, a previous student, and her connection, her community, it's of moms. And she takes these moms out of town so that they can focus on themselves and they can become better moms because of travel. So really, as the CEO and the vision setter for your business, like, you've got to have a strong vision, and make that connective to who your clients are. We'll be talking about how to do that all throughout this week. So here's some things that you want to be thinking about when it comes to how do you enable yourself to make that shift if that's not something that you do. What is an aspect of travel that you were like super passionate about? When I first started in the industry, I wanted to figure out, like, I love water and I wanted to learn about cruising. Like, it was I wasn't passionate about it, but it was something I wanted to immerse myself in because I love water. And it was like, what better way to learn about and go than to be on the water, for an extended period of time, and then go to multiple places at one time. So I was passionate about cruising and learning all that I could about cruising. What is your passion? What area of the travel industry are you passionate about? If you don't know, that is something for you to investigate. Most people will tell me I'm passionate about, cruise is a type of travel. That's certainly, I'm passionate about a particular destination. That's a great passion to have. I'm passionate about a particular, a mode of transportation in and of itself is not really a passion. Like, nobody is really passionate about cruising, yes, but like nobody's really passionate about, like, I want to do land trips, right? But cruising is a mode that people can be passionate. When you deal with somebody who's a cruiser, they love cruising, that's their thing. Big ocean liners, river cruising. What area, what aspect of travel are you most interested to become passionate about or are already passionate about? Let me know in comments as I start to ask these questions. How do you want your clients to feel when they experience your services? And when I say your services, you get them out of town. The supplier is going to ensure that they have an amazing experience on the resort, on the ship. in the destination. The tour operator is going to do that. But what about what you specifically do, which is you interact with them pre-travel, you help them resolve questions, you help design trips that get them to their bucket list place. How do you want your clients to feel when they work with you? What does that look like? What is that gonna look like? And when you think about your business, what do you want that experience to be? What are you going to bring unique to the industry? And you may be like, well, I don't really know, Sunday. That's a hard question. So let me give you a little bit of insight as to that. I come from, my background is in the beauty industry. And if you know anything about the beauty industry, there is, particularly I'm from from Texas, and there literally is a salon on every corner. Like, so, and I obviously I'm African American, and there's a Black salon on like every corner. Like there's like, you go here, there's one here, go two steps down, there's another one. And people will often say, well, aren't you afraid to compete with so many people in the industry? This is when I was in the salon industry. And my response to that was no, because not everybody does things like I do. Same thing applies to travel. There are travel advisors, thousands. There's over, 250,000 travel advisors in the United States alone, and I think that number is low. I don't even think that's really representative of the total number of independent travel advisors. And my question to you is, what is going to make you different than the person down the street or the other person on this phone? And so the more you can articulate that, the easier it will be for you to connect to whoever you want to work with. And so you've got to know that. Nobody else is going to know that. And don't tell me, because many advisors will be like, well, because I do great customer service. Well, what does that mean? So you've got to, as the CEO of your business, you've got to be able to articulate what makes you the bomb.com. Now, I'm going to give you, and as a coach, I'm going to give you things for you to consider that make you the bomb.com, but you've got to be able to really clearly articulate what that bomb.com looks like from a client perspective and also from an experience perspective. So how does your ideal business reflect your values and your lifestyle? Right. And so what I mean by that is build a business that you love. Build a business that isn't what you think it is. And I'll give you an example. If you hate Disney, don't sell it. Like that is just a like, if you don't like weddings, don't do them. If you like, this is your business. You get to define it however you want. So don't do it. Don't create a business that doesn't reflect who you are. If you don't really like working with families, don't do it. Don't do it because you're like, oh, well, somebody booked, they booked a request with me and I need to do it. Build a business that you love, and it needs to reflect who you are and what you are. Don't try and change who you are to create a business because you think it's going to make you money. I will tell you this, and this is something I strongly believe. I believe in showing up authentically who you are. When I first started my online business, before I focused on travel, I was very concerned about like how I looked, how I talked, how I showed up. Don't get me wrong. I think it's important to be concerned about how you look and how you talk, but I was more concerned about creating what I thought the persona needed to be instead of showing up as Sunday. Don't do that in your business. Whoever you are, be that person and show up that person, right? And create a business that's going to allow you to do that. That's really going to ensure that you create a business that you love. So let's talk about your vision. What is your intention? You guys have typed in the comments a lot of really great intentions that you're passionate about. Somebody said somebody's passionate about booking cruises, right? The act of booking is really not that fun, but I assume you love the experience of cruising, right? What cruising does for you, the ability to connect, to have everything at your fingertips, right? That's probably what you really like, and getting people to experience that with you. What's the intention of what you want from your business and what you want your clients to get from the things that you create for them. So what do you want? This is the time when that you will hear me say, there's very few times that I let you as a business or say as a business owner that you get to focus on you. This is this time. Today is this time. Building the vision of your business, building and defining how you want your business to look to yourself and to others is the time that you get to do. Picking your niche, picking the type of clients you want to work with, all of that is all about you. You don't have to worry about other people in this stage of the game. This is about you and what you want. So what is the intention that you want? If you want, I literally had a client back in 2020. She loved animals. So her business was going to be all around traveling with animals. I would have never in a million years thought of that. Because I like animals, but I don't travel with my animals. And did she have a market? She absolutely had a market for that. That was her intention. What was the outcome? She was able to create a community of people that love to also travel with her animals, right? So make sure that whatever vision that you create, it's about what you're passionate about, because I'm going to ask you to talk and commit to that for at least 18 months. So let me give you an example of what I mean by commit to that. If you tell me that you're passionate about a destination, and let's say it's the Caribbean, and your intention is to sell the Caribbean, like for the next whatever, commit to the Caribbean for the next year and a half, because it's going to take that long for you to build up all of the stuff necessary for you to be able to sell it on autopilot. Does that make sense? So when it comes to destinations, pick a destination if that's what you want. And it's not to say that you can't sell other destinations, but it allows you to focus. So outcome. So always have an input. So your intention is X. And then what is the outcome? What do you want to get out of the business? What do you want your clients to get out of the business? And what's standing in your way? If you just started the business, why didn't you start it sooner? Why didn't you start it a year ago? Understand what are the things that are preventing you from having done it or doing it now. Like, you need to be super clear about that. What do you need? What do you need in terms of your business to see the success that you want? And what's your plan? If you don't have a plan, then seeing success is going to be a whole lot harder. Don't get me wrong, you can have some quick wins, but to consistently see success over and over, we are going to need to do that. So let's jump into each one of these things. So your dream travel business, this is all about you putting it on paper in terms of what that looks like for you. So what I mean by this is, what is a dream? What does a dream look like? All right. Have you guys thought about this? So when you signed on the dotted line with your host agency, what did you dream the business would look like? So it may require some of you to step back a couple of years. If you joined a couple of years ago, if you just pulled the trigger, like, what did you dream this was going to be like? Let me know in comments if any of you guys like to share. What did you think the business was going to be like? Your dream business. You started this business and you said, yep, I'm in, I want it. What did you think it was going to be like? And I'm going to pause just a little bit, get some water, and give you guys a chance to and then read some of your comments. And I love cruising. I'd like to be, I'll be cruising in 19 days. Good for you. I am going on a cruise this summer. All right. I'm also going to make sure that I'm not missing any comments anywhere else. Okay. So dreaming about what your business looks like is the first step. If you guys are struggling with understanding like what that is, I just want you to brainstorm what it looks like, what your day looks like. If you were to do this business full time, what would your day look like? Even while you're doing it part time, what time are you going to carve out for your business? What are you going to be working on? What kind of destinations? What kind of clients you're going to be working on? I want you to jot down all of those things that you think an ideal business will have for you. What kind of, I'm not to say that money isn't important, right? I'm just saying it shouldn't be the focus. How much money are you making in the business? What does it look like? And if you don't have that clear picture, that's really what I want you to do on this step, is really jot down some bullets as to what your dream business looks like, even while you're working it part-time. And then also, if you were to do this full-time, what does that look like in terms of activity, money, input and output? What is your family doing? How often are you traveling? Everything. That's what I'd like you to do in this section. So this is also, so somebody asked, like, what is it like focusing on a particular supplier like sandals? If that's your choice, absolutely. But there's characteristics about sandals that you love. When I talk about your dream and your outcome, that's what you really need to be, because the client that you work with may not even know who Sandals is or your suppliers are. There's something about those suppliers that you like that make you want to work with them. That's what I want you to, is it the experience? Is it the food? Is it the accommodations? What specifically about the suppliers, if you decided to work with a particular supplier, what is that? What about them is it that you really like? What's your outcome? Like, what are you going to get? At the end of the day, we're all in business for profit, but we're also in business for experience, right? For me, part of the reason why I started a business was I wanted to be in control of my time. I wanted to be in control of my money. Really, I wanted to be in control of all four of those things. So the outcome and a dream business is that I'm not working 7 days a week. The dream business is that I'm only working with a few select clients. I've got partnerships that are strong, both supplier and client, and I'm able to do and focus on my zone of genius, right? What's your outcome? What's it look like at the end of the day? You guys have got to be able to visualize this. So what I want to do is talk about what's stopping you and what are some of the constraints. And I'll use my husband, to his chagrin, as an example. When I first started in the online business, in the online space, I quickly was taught by a coach that you needed to do video. So I established a cadence of going live every single Wednesday. Like, that was my cadence. And I still, to this day, I still go live unless we have a training or something else, go live on Wednesdays. And my husband would come home at like 7 o'clock. He would come home between 7 and 7:30, right in the middle of my live. And when he came in, and my office was right in the front of the house. He would come in, and there was, I'd be busy or whatever. And what people who know me understand, my husband's Jamaican, so he's got a thick accent, and he's very much who he is, right? So we'd walk in, and he'd be like, Ross, Claude, where's the food? There's nothing to eat, right in the middle of live. So I'd be in the background, and I'd be like, grr, grr, right? And so that wasn't a blocker, but it was certainly a constraint, because it frustrated. I was already nervous about going live, and it was already something that I didn't like to do. And then he would come in, and he would totally mess up my mojo, right? It would just totally mess up my mojo. It wasn't his fault. It was my fault. I knew this about him, but I didn't do what I needed to do to create an environment so the come in during my live would be good, right? So I had to shift my day and the way that whole thing got orchestrated so it wouldn't disrupt me. What kind of blockers do you have in your life that are preventing you from doing the things? Is it family? Is it husband? Is it friends? Is it work? What is it in your life that's stopping you from doing the things that you need to do? Let's say kids, that's another example, right? Kids and their schedules. So, if you are, and the reality is, not to say that men don't do this as well. If it's family and you've got young children, and that, they've got homework and they've got soccer practice and football practice between 6 and 8, right? Setting yourself up for success means that, okay, from the hours of 6 to 9, I'm doing family, and from 9 to 11, I'm doing work, and I'm doing what I need to do, right? Or 1 day a week, or 2 days, whatever that is. So understanding your schedule, that may be something that is the case as well. Work in money, somebody wrote, is a blocker and a constraint. Whatever that blocker is, don't ignore it. Like, write it down, be clear about it, because you are the only one to make a plan to address it. Does that make sense? And somebody wrote, I'm left without any excuses. Okay, that's great. If you have none, then you should be able to accomplish what you want. So the reality is that if you've had this on your heart, or you've wanted to do a business, and this business specifically, and you haven't, is it because you didn't know, or there was something stopping you? Not judging. I just want you to be honest with yourself about what those things are, because those things need to be addressed. If you don't address them, they're going to continue to be a blocker and a constraint. So getting frustrated and not acknowledging them isn't the path to resolving it. It's acknowledging them and then setting a plan in motion to address it. And so the next item is, what do you need? Who or what do you need? Not how. So this is really around not trying to figure out all the steps, but let's say money. Somebody typed money is a constraint, right? Well, what do you need in terms of money? Do you even know how much money you need in order to run the business? This week is definitely going to give you some eye openers in terms of what you need to do from a financial perspective. But do you lack knowledge? Do you need training in some areas? Do you need know-how? Do you need people to help you in areas that you don't know how to do that? So let me give you an example. If you've never started a business and you don't know how to get a business registered in your county, that's knowledge, right? You probably need some knowledge on what you need to do to register. If you love sandals and you don't even know who or how to get in contact with sandals, again, that's knowledge. So being clear about what you need to be successful, and at least identifying it, is the most important step that you can make. Just because you don't have it today doesn't mean that you can't acquire it. But if you don't even know that you need it, it's very difficult to acquire it. So this is, again, about identification of the gaps that you needed. And I'm going to use my husband as an example, right? What did I need? I needed silence between the hours of 7 and 8 o'clock. I needed no disruption in that, so I wouldn't be flustered when I did a live. This wasn't like a monumental thing, but it required me to plan my Wednesday from the morning so that by the evening time, it was going to be peaceful when I needed to do that, right? So that was a shift that I needed to make in the way that I orchestrated my day so that I could ensure that hour was going to give me what I needed, which was silence and no disruption. And it literally was just like putting a sign on the out of the door, I'm live, please come in quietly, right? That was like one small shift that I needed to do. All right. So your plan is really around, what is it going to take to get it done? So again, I don't want you to focus on so much the how. I'm going to go back to this, this item. I don't want you to focus on the steps so much as the what and the who. Don't focus on, well, I need 15 steps and I don't know what the steps are. And so then you get flustered. This is not an identification. If you just need somebody to tell you what the steps are, that's what you need to do. Does that make sense? Like, I want you guys to make sure that you're not focused on making sure you know every single step, because that's not the objective right now. It's just to determine, listen, I know I need to set up a business and I don't know how to do that. So I need some information on how to do that. And you write that down. Like, I need business setup information. And that's the thing. Not all the steps that are required to do the setup, not at this point. And so this challenge, this 5-day challenge, was created to provide you the roadmap on the plan. So I'm part of your information thread, is to help you understand what the plan is. So if you do decide to go independent fully, or a hybrid model, or even if you make the decision at the conclusion of this challenge to stay with the host, at least you understand what it's going to take ultimately to become independent. What we're going to be focused on this week is really around what it takes to become credible. Not only credible And when we think of credibility, we think external credibility, but there's also an internal credibility that you need to establish within the industry. So not just with your travel clients, but also with suppliers. We're going to be talking about what it takes for you to become a credible agency that suppliers will want to work with and what that takes. We're going to talk about tools and tactics on how to actually maximize your profits. There are some constraints that you have as when you're with a host agency. We are going to talk about how those constraints can be removed when you're fully independent. And in the case where you may want to be a hybrid model, that's available to you as well. We're going to talk about how you turn prospects or people who are interested in booking travel with you into actually booked clients. And then we're going to actually talk about where you can get in front of people that you want to work with. What are some of the best tools to do that and the best ways to do that? So the first thing that I want you to do is understand that when you meet somebody, you really have a very short period of time to explain to them what you do. And you only have a short period of time to make this kind of personal connection with people and really get your vision in their mind quickly. Right. So the best thing that I want to do is, and we're going to do a really quick exercise so you can get this 3-second kind of conversation in the works when somebody talks, when you introduce yourself, either online or in person, about what you do. My question is, before we even do the exercise, can you guys explain what you do in 3 seconds or less? Like, let's do this before we actually jump into the exercise. Can you guys tell me what you do in 3 seconds or less? Type it. I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds, 5 to 30 seconds to type what you do. If somebody were to say, what do you do? Can you explain what your vision is for your travel business in a way that people will understand it in 3 seconds or less? And if you can't, you can just type no. If you can, get to type it and let me see what you guys come up with. And then we're going to jump into the exercise. And then I'm going to read some of your comments that you guys have given. I'm a group travel specialist. I help people live life fully while experiencing the world, bring fun and family together. I make people travel dreams come true. No. Create travel experiences. Geez, no, sorry. That's all right. I can help plan relaxation for you. Okay. All right. So great job. Thank you for participating. And so the objective here is that whatever you say or type, some people are not fast typers, some are not. So, a little bit unfair if you type it and you're like, I don't type very fast, Sunday. That's not fair. But the idea is that you should be able, for sure, when you're in front of somebody, be able to speak to what it is that you do. I'm a travel specialist and I curate luxury itineraries. Okay, so let's do this quick exercise, because at the conclusion of you mastering this exercise, which I don't envision that you'll master it all in this one session, but the idea is for you to be able to articulate this dream vision that you have for your business in a really short period of time. So here's a quick exercise. Is your statement needs to identify these items that are in bold. I help what type of client? What type of client do you guys help? So I'm going to give you guys a second, and I want you to type the type of client that you want to work with. Type who is it that you help? Do you help busy professionals? Do you help people? Like what kind of people do you help get out of town? Type it in the comments. Women. All right. Charlene writes, I help women. What kind of women? Women is pretty broad. What kind of women? Old women, young women, professional women, women with kids, women without kids. What kind of women? Professionals with money to spend on travel. I love that, Lisa. She's like professionals with money. That's very broad. So what kind of professionals? How much money? Like what kind of money are you talking about? Busy professionals and family and single travel. Okay, so you guys are getting you're getting a more specific, right? What I will tell you in step one is the more specific you can get about the type of client that you help get out of town, the easier it is for them to raise their hand. I'll give you a good example of this. I help doctors. Not to say that you've got to specialize in just doctors, but if a doctor is reading a marketing piece that you wrote, do you think if that's them and they're interested that they're going to raise their hand? Does it exclude everybody else who is a doctor? Yes. And why would you want to do that? You want to do that because you want the message to click with whoever it is that you want to get out of town. Does that make sense? Women group. All right. So when you use adjectives that are very broad, right? Women, men, group, it doesn't exclude anybody, right? Women is very broad. There's billions of women in the world, billions of men in the world, right? There's a lot of people in that category. What makes a woman raise their hand and say, yes, I want to go on this cruise with her, just because you use the word women? I'm going to give you something that is a good definitive answer. I told you earlier about my client, Michelle, and she specializes in busy women with children under the age, I think they're like, I think her age group is 7 to 8, and they're professional women. She has a Facebook group that's dedicated to these women, and they all have children. And the focus that she helps these women get out of town with is so that they could be better moms, right? So her type of woman is a mom with young children. Does that make sense? So I help X type of person. So be specific about, so if it's broad, and if I or yourself could ask the question, what kind, it's too broad. What kind of women, what kind of group, what kind of men, right? Folks over 50 is definitely more specific, but there's a lot of folks over 50. we're a growing number too. So what kind of folks over 50? So if you can keep asking yourself what kind, it's too broad. So work on the type of client. Number 2 is, why can't they get themselves out of town? What's preventing them from getting themselves out of town? So somebody wrote solo travelers. I like solo travelers because that's definitely more specific. But what's preventing solo travelers from getting out of town? Why can't they get themselves out of town? And I'm going to give you an example for solo travelers, because I do think it's a really good niche area. Solo travelers is fear, overcoming fear of traveling by themselves for safety reasons, for just fear, like they don't know what to do. They feel like that they're going to be alone. Some people have a problem eating by themselves. Like there's a whole bunch of reasons why a solo traveler doesn't want to travel by themselves. Right? So you help solo travelers get out of town with, what is it that you help them get out of town? Overcome their fear of travel, right? That could be a statement that you could put there. Right? So step 2 is really making sure that that type of person that you want to work with, that you understand what they're struggling with right now to get themselves out of town. If you want to work with luxury travelers who pay you money, that's very vague. But let's say you want to work with busy professional women, that's a type of person. Why can't they get out of town? With getting to their bucket, getting their family of, their large families out of town effortlessly, right? That's a struggle. Somebody who's a busy professional, they can't get out of town because they're probably too busy working, right? So that would be the struggle statement. Does that make sense? Most don't have time to plan and don't want to be alone, right? So those are all struggle points. So pick one, and that's what you're going to put in step 2. Step 3 is, what do they want? What is it that they want? And don't tell me get out of town. Everybody wants to get out of town, but what is it that they really want? Solo travelers, I'm going to use this as an example because it's a really good example. People who are solo travelers, I'll even use myself as an example. I remember when I was just fresh out of college, many, many years ago, I traveled every week. I was an auditor, and I had to go out of town, and I worked like 5 days a week, and I would come home and I hadn't traveled, right? Grew up poor, didn't have a travel. And I said, you know what? I'm going to, every weekend, instead of coming home, I'm going to go somewhere. And I wanted to just experience things that I had never experienced. I wanted to go to all these places that I could do in a weekend. So I started traveling by myself. Well, what was it that I wanted, right? I wanted to achieve seeing places that I'd never seen. And had I succumbed to that fear, I wouldn't have done it. So people who are really want to be solo travelers, they want to achieve seeing the world, but they're afraid to. And that's what you help them do. If you said that, Charlene, as your statement, anyone that you meet who's in that boat, they would be like, oh my God, that is me. I get it. I help solo travelers get out of town or overcome their fear and see everywhere on their own terms, or in a safe space, or whatever. Does that make sense? Like, the point is that you specifically tell your ideal client that you help them with the thing that they're struggling with, achieve the thing that they want, which is to see more places, and not be scared, go places that they want to go, that they don't know how to do it, right? Whatever that thing is, you've got to be able to answer those three things. The easier you can answer those three things, your vision becomes easier for somebody else to understand. Does that make sense? All right. So now I'd like you guys to try it again. I help your type of person with the reason they can't get out of town achieve what they want when they're out of town. See better places, cruise more if that's what you want to specialize in, right? I help who with what achieve what. Okay, does that make sense? Let's do it again. Like, how do you guys feel now about doing it again? Tell me what your statement would be now that you've got this formula. No takers, nobody wants to share. Okay, that will be your homework assignment. So we're going to go on. This is literally your homework assignment. I help busy professionals and families travel. Kelly, good start. However, what do busy professionals want? Why can't busy professionals get themselves out of town? And where do these businesses want to do? And why do they? So let's dissect this just a little bit. Busy professionals, they want to get out of town, not just to travel. It's to create time, most likely. So again, I'm speaking as a busy professional, and why I want to get at my family. It's bonding time. It's dedicated bonding time away from the Xbox. It's dedicated bonding time that allows my family to actually carve out the time to actually converse with each other, because there's sports, there's work, there's school, there's all this stuff, right? That's the objective. Travel is just the way to get there. What they really want is time with their loved ones, having experiences one-on-one. Does that make sense? Travel, again, is just the path to get to the goal. And the goal, nobody likes to travel, literally. The act of traveling, like getting on a plane, flying 15 hours, that sucks. Going to the airport, the travel component isn't why people do it. It's the experience at the end of getting to the destination is what they're after. You guys need to articulate that to the people so using the word travel to explain that you're a travel advisor is what I want you not to do. What is the experience that you want your clients to have? So busy professionals, they can't get themselves out of town because they don't have the time, because they're too busy being busy, right? So I help busy professionals take the worry out of planning a trip so that they can have great experiences together with their families. That's a more specific vision statement of what you do. Does that make sense? So now what you all get the opportunity to do is I'm going to put this workbook again in the chat for you all to work on tonight, because I'm going to ask you tomorrow about how it goes what you need to do, and let me just share, I'm going to open the workbook just so you can see it. So this workbook is kind of what we went over today. And don't ask me to, like, if you cannot edit the workbook. So what all you need to do is click on file and then make a copy and then copy it to your drive. And then you can make edits, but I won't open it up. So if you ask, I'll just decline it. So you just need to make a copy of it, save it somewhere so that you can work on it on yourself. I really want you guys to just dive in and really do this exercise, because this exercise is really going to help you start to craft what you want from the business and what you want your clients to get from your business, right? Take the time to do this, because profitability, money follows how you come in service. If you're not trying to create a business of service, and I don't mean transactional service, but really the value proposition that advisors bring to the table is that you take all the knowledge that you learn and know about the industry and then marry that knowledge to create invaluable experiences for your clients, right? That was very wordy, but I said it slowly. I made it very wordy because I want you guys really to think about what you guys do. You know, if somebody really wants to have a transaction where you just book a flight for somebody and you get a hotel for somebody, they could do that themselves. They could go to Expedia.com. And I mean, with the internet and now with AI options, right? People can book their own travel, right? That's not what we do. That's not what you do. And if that's what you think you're in business to do, this is why this exercise becomes even more important to you, for you to focus on, is we don't just facilitate the transaction, we facilitate the experience. We are instrumental in creating and allowing people to create the type of experiences out of town that they couldn't necessarily do for themselves, or better, faster, easier than they could do it for themselves. In addition to the fact that we help dot all the I's, cross all the T's, so that it goes as seamlessly as possible. Now, you should never guarantee that it'll be without problems, because it will be, you can't control every component of the trip, but you're an advocate for them to help them resolve. You're a problem solver. Not only do you design, but you're a problem solver. So this workbook to me is probably one of the most critical exercises that you can do in your business, is really think about the vision that you want for your business, what you want to get out of the business, and what you want your clients to get out of the business. All right. Sneak peek as to what tomorrow is going to look like. So any questions about the homework, the workbook? Tomorrow, we're going to focus on how you build business credibility, not only with your clients, but also with suppliers, and what it takes to meet what it means to be fully independent, and or what you can possibly do to be hybrid. I am going to now open it up for any questions that you guys would like to share on chat. And then if you are in the VIP session, we're going to drop off of this Zoom and we're going to join the VIP Zoom. And I'm going to pause, come off of share, and ask if there are any questions, comments, thoughts. To edit the workbook, all you need to do is go in the top left-hand corner and click on File, make a copy, and then save it to your location. Okay. All right, and let me see if there's any questions on YouTube. And I think,
Mrs. Gardner, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes. Who's the speaker?
Okay, awesome. What advice do you have for someone like me? I saw the opportunity. I have yet to experience my first trip, but that was one of the benefits I felt like was going to be this. Starting my business will give me the opportunity to experience my first cruise, something that I've always wanted to do for years. What advice do you have for someone like me that is not a traveler, but would like to embark on this? Like,
Book yourself a trip.
yes,
That,
yes,
that, that, that's it. Book yourself a trip.
yes. So that is my goal. I will experience my first trip in 2024.
Yep. That's the first is I actually recommend, if there are parts of the business that you want to experience, is that you experience it yourself. Now, there are, depending on if you're hosted or independent, the way that you can do that, there are a myriad of different ways that you can do that. So if
Well, yes,
you,
I am hosted. Yes.
so if you're hosted, it really depends on your host agency in terms of if they will give you access to, and we're going to be diving into some of that in the credibility tomorrow, but depending on your host agency and if they give you the ability to get access to, I'm a member of CLIA, and as such, I get access to Marriott rewards, and which then gives me discounts. And so if you, depending again on that relationship, you can then maybe get room rack discounts through that partnership. So it just depends on what your relationship and what your host agency will give you access to. If you're independent, again, we'll be going over some of that tomorrow, but we do get access as advisors to discounts, and but there's no such thing as free. Particularly post COVID, suppliers don't really do free fam trips like they used to pre-COVID. They really want you to demonstrate that you can sell their properties beforehand, before you can just join them for free. Some of them have nominal pricing, but again, this is all about knowledge and positioning, and it's also about relationship building with the suppliers if you are looking to do trips at a deep discount. But as I would say, there's nothing for free. If you're going to do a deep discount trip with the supplier, they are going to require your time, so that you are doing an itinerary that's completely designed by them. Your time is 199% dedicated to them. So my recommendation is, if you want to travel and you want to experience, you want to you need to book trips. You need to book trips for yourself. And those are really great ways to also market your business.
Thank you so much.
You are
Understood.
so welcome. All right. I do not see any other questions in the chat, and VIP is really a good place for you guys to get some very hands-on training. And with that, I am going, or not hands-on training, because we're not really doing training, but we're really going to be focused on issues that you're having with this transition if you're deciding to transfer, or you want just some insight on what you can do to transition from hosted to independent. All right, with that, I'm going to let you go. Homework, I've already included the link, and I will see you guys at same time tomorrow. We're going to jump into credibility. Have a great day.